Government affects where we live, where we work, how our children learn, and how our communities grow. Yet too often, the decisions that shape our lives happen without our understanding or participation. That's where Zlography comes in. Welcome to Zlography, where politics is broken down and citizens learn how to govern their government. Hosted by Debz, Zlography examines American politics through a Caribbean lens because informed citizens build stronger communities. This is Zlography. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zlography, where politics is broken down and citizens learn to govern their government. I'm your host, Debz. Today, we are talking about Puerto Rico. The people of Puerto Rico are United States citizens. They serve in the United States military, contribute to this country, and are part of the American family. They're also Caribbean Latino Americans. However, while living in Puerto Rico, they cannot vote for president in the general election. They do not have voting senators, and their representative in Congress cannot vote on the final passage of legislation. At the same time, families continue to experience electrical outages, expensive utility bills, poverty, limited economic opportunities, and infrastructure that has never been fully rebuilt. Puerto Rico has received billions of dollars in federal assistance. However, announcing money and completing projects are two different things. So today, we are asking a simple question. How can millions of American citizens continue to feel forgotten by their own country? Today's episode is titled The Cost of Being Forgotten. My guest is Stephanie Lopez-Burgos. Stephanie, welcome to Zlography.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Stephanie, before we get into politics and the numbers, I want our viewers to get to know you.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to Puerto Rico.
Of course. So when I came to the United States, I was 9 years old. I came with just my mom, my sister, and my brother. We came with nothing. We were leaving behind a very painful chapter of my mother's life, and we didn't know what our journey will be like. And today, I am an organizer. I work for a nonprofit that does immigration and labor rights. I'm an advocate. Whenever I see there's an injustice, I have to speak up, and I use my privilege of having a U.S. citizenship to speak for those that can't. And I owe that a lot to also growing up in politics in Puerto Rico. My family, my mom, used to manage the youth program in politics. So I grew up going to caravans, and politics in Puerto Rico is nothing like here. I remember it was like being in a festival for whatever reason. I'm sure that if you Google it, you'll understand what I mean. It's very lively.
But you were born a U.S. citizen in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
What do you wish more Americans understood about Puerto Rican culture and identity?
Well, we are Caribbeans, we are Latinos, and we're Americans, and we carry all of those. They don't cancel each other out. They are part of who we are, who I am. And when I say we are Caribbeans and we're Latinos and we are American citizens, our culture is deeply rooted in our language, in our music, Bad Bunny,
Yeah.
We also have other great artists, of course. Our food, which is delicious. I go to Puerto Rico, I think, just to eat. Our traditions, and the way that we value family and community. Sometimes people want to identify to fit neatly into one box. But Puerto Ricans' experience doesn't necessarily fit into a box, not one box. I can be incredibly proud of being Puerto Rican and Caribbean, while also recognizing that I am American. The complexity is actually an important part of our story.
Puerto Ricans are Caribbean, Latino Americans. Why is it important for that full identity to be recognized?
Because that's what we are. It's just simply, it sounds like a simple answer, but that's who we are. That's what our story is.
Yes, because you guys are rooted in the Caribbean. You're still American. You speak Spanish. You speak English. It's an entire identity. It's an entire vibe.
It really is. I feel like Puerto Ricans are very unique. The uniqueness sometimes, we're very proud of, Puerto Ricans are very proud of Puerto Rico. We're proud of our heritage, who we are, where we come from, what we stand for. But sadly, even though we're such a small island with vibrance all around, we're supposed to be, part of the greatest economic country in the world. We don't really feel it.
So let's talk about that, Stephanie. The title of today's show is called The Cost of Being Forgotten. What does the title mean to you, The Cost of Being Forgotten?
I have to think about it for a second because honestly, I hate to think that we're forgotten, but we are forgotten. We don't, in the way that we are treated by the United States makes us feel forgotten. And that means, we saw that clearly when Hurricane Maria happened.
Yes.
Many, many people died. Many people were without water, electricity.
But isn't that still happening today in Puerto Rico? That in 2025, when the electricity came off, the Puerto Ricans were without power for 2 days?
2 days. They ration the water and electricity, and there's no stability when it comes to infrastructure in Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria didn't create a problem. There was a problem, it just heightened it.
Yeah, there was a problem way before Hurricane Maria. It's now that, and I don't think mainland America sees Puerto Rico as being a part of the country, because I've heard their government is unstable, but we have the same government.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when Americans think of Puerto Rico, they think of vacation, tourism, beaches, but we're so much more than that.
So do you think that Puerto Rico is being forgotten because it's a Caribbean island and has limited political power? Do you think that's part of the situation?
Politics in Puerto Rico are sadly one of the reasons why the island is the way it is.
What do you mean?
Because there's a lot of corruption. There really isn't like check and balances. We don't know where the money's going to. We don't see where the progress of that money coming in.
We can say that for most Caribbean islands, but Puerto Rico is American.
Absolutely. So why is it that Congress and the government aren't doing their duty in asking, if we're giving you all this money, show us the results of it?
But isn't that because in Congress, there's no senators for Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rican Congress representative cannot really vote on legislation, can they?
Not really. We have a representative, and that's all we have.
Does it really represent?
They're honestly, they're more pushing for Puerto Rico to become a state. And they think that that's going to resolve all the problems.
But does the regular American citizens realize that Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. and the Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens? Because I've heard a lot of people don't think that and don't really understand that.
Well, for that, we would have to go way into the history of Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans, they gave us citizenship because they needed people to go to war. That's why citizenship was awarded to Puerto Rico. They needed the bodies. They needed people to go fight for them. And also Puerto Rico, where it's located, they had military bases in Puerto Rico, like a strategic point, which, really did hurt the island. And a lot of damage was done by that military base in Vieques.
Really? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So how does it make Puerto Ricans feel when people speak about the island as if it was a foreign country?
We feel it too. We feel it too. When we come to the United States, we come for us to grow financially and prosperity, to grow. Most of Puerto Ricans that leave Puerto Rico don't leave because they don't love the island, because they don't like it. Most of them, they're looking for, just like my mom did for us, looking for a better opportunity. A better life. Because there's a lot of things that are lacking for growth to happen. And I'm not saying that's for everyone. There are some people that are privileged, just like we have people in the United States that are privileged. We have those in the island as well. But, a lot of Puerto Ricans leave just for a better life.
But some people would say, how is that so when it's part of the United States? It's a territory.
Well, number one, a lot of the money that Puerto Rican is given it's not really there isn't a challenge from the government to say, show us the money, show us where you're putting the money, show us if you're getting this contract, we need to see it and we want the results of it. It feels like they're just blindly giving money to Puerto Rico, even though we do need it. It feels like we're not receiving it because where we are at today, the water crisis, the power grid, I don't know if you're aware that for Puerto Ricans receiving merchandise from other countries, we don't get vessels directly going to Puerto Rico with that.
I heard that.
They don't, it has, so the way that it works is the cargo ships have to go to Florida. From Florida, put all the shipment into a U.S. vessel.
Okay.
And that cargo U.S. vessel then takes it to Puerto Rico.
So it's not direct?
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
And that causes also for things to cost more than what it does here. That's why when Maria happened, a lot of countries were trying to provide aid to Puerto Rico. And that's why a lot of people died, the delay of that aid getting to Puerto Rico.
So the aid went to Florida first before Puerto Rico?
They paused it.
Oh.
They allowed temporarily for cargo ships to go directly to Puerto Rico, but that took time for that to happen. No. And time meant life and death to some.
The delayed of aid resulted in life. I'm going to break for a second and share some numbers with our audience.
Sure.
I wanted to share a few numbers before we continue. According to the United States Census Bureau, Puerto Rico has approximately 3.8 million residents. More than 37% of the population lives in poverty, and the median household income is approximately $26,297. The Government Accountability Office reports that people in Puerto Rico lose electricity more frequently than people living in any state. A complete blackout in April 2025 lasted almost 2 days. Not everyone in Puerto Rico is living without electricity or running water. However, too many families live with the uncertainty of not knowing when essential service may fail again. These are American citizens, and reliable electricity and clean water should not be treated as luxuries. What does an electrical outage actually mean for the ordinary family in Puerto Rico?
It means, let me put it this way. The best way that I can respond it is, my mom, when we lived in Puerto Rico, was a single mom. You know, we lived check to check. My mom would pay the bills, or sometimes pick which bill she should prioritize first.
Peter,
and like, which one do we need right now? But we also would go grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. And in Puerto Rico, it's very hot. So when electricity goes out, the food that you have just bought goes bad. And that sometimes that money isn't there to fill it back up.
It hurts the pocket. So you'd say, how does these outages affect older adults, people who depend on medical equipment, students, hospitals, and small businesses?
Well, it hurts them financially. But at the end of the day, power outages affect the whole island financially. And not only that, financially, but for people that are senior citizens that, as you mentioned, have medical equipment and rely on electricity to survive, means life and death.
So how do these problems with electricity and water affect the way people feel about the future of Puerto Rico?
Well, that's the uncertainty of it. You know, we don't right now, the problem with our electrical grid needs to be addressed, and it feels like they're putting a Band-Aid on it. Like, okay, yes, the power will be out for a little bit, but they're not really trying to fix the issue, trying to make it better to prevent that from happening. And that's the way that the people in Puerto Rico feel. Like, is this going to be fixed? Because right now it doesn't feel like it.
But this is the part that many people find difficult to understand. The federal government has obligated approximately $14 billion to help repair and modernize Puerto Rico's electrical system. However, by the end of 2025, only about 25% of that money has actually been dispersed. The Government Accountability Office has also reported that only 9 out of 258 large projects funded through FEMA has been completed. This does not mean that Puerto Rico received no help. It means that much of the promised help has been slow to reach the people. Why has rebuilding Puerto Rico's electrical system taking so long?
That's a great question. I wish I could ask that question to the government in Puerto Rico. And I wish that I could ask our congressman, why is it that us Americans in Puerto Rico are not?
So is it mainly a federal government problem, a Puerto Rican government problem, a contractor problem, or a combination of all three?
A combination of all three. Because I cannot sit here and point the finger at the government of the United States. Mm-hmm. Just like I can't sit here and point it just at the Puerto Rican government. I can't because, you know, when money is being sent to Puerto Rico, the hopes is that it's being utilized properly for the things that are needed, the dire stuff. Mm. But those contracts are not handled by the government. they give the money to Puerto Rico's government. Puerto Rico's government is the one that is responsible to overseeing who they're providing these contracts. Like right now, Luma is the energy company, the electricity company that is privately owned, and it's American, and it's an American
Contractor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how can, where did they come from? Who is asking why was that contract awarded to them? And that's where I point the finger at the government in the United States, because they should be asking, checking, why did you give them those contracts? And that's where I want to say corruption comes in. That's where Puerto Rico's government is, we should be able to follow the money.
Yes. So do Puerto Rican residents receive enough information about where the money is going and which projects have been completed?
It's a battle. Puerto Rico is always fighting to know why or where is the money. Right now, the water company, the employees have decided to go and strike.
Oh, wow.
And it's because they're not getting paid the way they should. It's just there is, if their own employees are on strike because of their working conditions, a lot of the people are, oh, well, that's going to make our water crisis even worse.
Of course it will.
But nobody's fixing the water crisis. They're just saying we're going to save the water. You're going to have it for 48 hours, and then 48 hours that you won't have water. And that's how it is right now.
So what are the people supposed to do that you only have water for 48 hours?
A lot of them use containers. I don't want to laugh. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't want to.
No, but we're living on the mainland that we don't have that problem. And yet U.S. citizens are living in conditions of poverty that you would have thought would only be found on a third world country.
Well, right now the National Guard is basically going with water trucks to communities, and what people are doing is they're standing in line with all the containers they can possibly have.
Wow.
To wait. Now let me ask you something. What's going to happen to the elder community, the elders that cannot carry as much containers as a young person could, or the people that are disabled?
That's a good question.
It is, and we're seeing, if you go on the news, there's somebody that is talking specifically about that. They said that a person asked them, please, I can't open my water bottle cap.
Oh, wow.
And the person was like, if they can't open a bottle cap of water, do you think that they can go get some water?
Yes.
And if they can't open the water bottle cap, how hard is it to open a faucet when 48 hours you have water?
Wow.
It's just those small things really do impact community. And I want to say something amazing about my island is that people help each other.
Community.
Something that I miss about my island is how the community comes together to help each other out, to help their neighbor. I remember when I lived in Puerto Rico, the last hurricane that I was in, I think it was Hurricane George.
Okay.
And I remember that when the water was rising up, because a tree had fallen where the water drainage was.
Oh, so it was like a dam.
It was a dam, and I remember that the water was rising, the water was coming in the home, and all of a sudden, all of the neighbors in the middle of a hurricane came out with chainsaws, with axe, with machetes, and all of them, including my mom, all of them went into the road and removed that tree, try to cut it up into pieces so the water can go back through the drainage. That's what I remember. That's what I remember of Puerto Rico, that our neighbors, if we needed water, they would also help us. My mom calls it a blessing. We had a faucet in the neighborhood. Actually, it was my house.
The standpipe?
A little faucet.
Yeah, and the standpipe
like
where everybody,
you know, like the
yes.
outside faucet that you use to wash your car. When the hurricane happened, we had no water and we didn't have any electricity. Mm-hmm. But our faucet, out of all the houses, had a drip.
Okay.
That never went away.
Okay, that's a
My mom allowed every single person in my neighborhood to come fill up their water. And I would ask my mom, like, Mom, aren't you afraid that it's gonna stop? Like, should we like reserve the water? Because you know, I was a little girl, you know, I was worried that we were gonna run out of water. And my mom's like, if we run out of water, they're gonna take care of us.
That's a Caribbean community right there.
Yes.
Puerto Rico's electrical crisis is only one of the problem. Mm-hmm. More than 1/3 of the population lives in poverty. Young people continue to leave the island in search of better opportunities, while many older residents are left behind. Puerto Rico also receives food assistance through a capped program called Nutrition Assistance Program instead of the regular SNAP program used by the states. That means the amount of money available does not automatically increase when more families need help. Why does poverty remain so high in Puerto Rico, you think?
Well, poverty remains high because let's put it this way. So financially, Puerto Rico is not just about there's a lot of unemployment in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. Many people are working and still struggling to make ends meet. For ordinary families, it can mean having to decide, as we mentioned, which bills gets paid. It means watching the grocery bill go up while your paycheck does not. Mm-hmm. It means worrying about electricity costs, housing, transportation, healthcare, and whether there will be enough left at the end of the month. And there's another layer to it. Puerto Ricans know that because we are U.S. citizens, we can move to the mainland, looking for better economic opportunities. So families are constantly faced with the difficult question, do I stay close to my family, culture, and community? Or do I leave because I can provide a better financial future somewhere elsewhere?
So are there enough good jobs for people who want to remain on the island?
So right now there is a teacher shortage in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Because what they get paid there is not enough for them to live the way they would here in the United States.
Yeah, if the median income is about $26,000, a little higher than that, that's terrible for an American country, the richest country in the world.
And that's the problem. You know, you go to school, let's say you study medicine.
Okay.
Let's say that there are jobs for you to practice your career. Mm-hmm. But you go to the United States and you're getting a very higher paying job. This is where you pick. Do you want to stay in the island with your family, the place that you love? Or do you go out there and make enough money to send back home?
Wow.
That's why I talk about the elders in Puerto Rico, because my grandma lives in Puerto Rico. Right now, my grandma, my whole family from my grandma's side lives in the United States. And I tell her, I'm like, Grandma, you're all on your own there. She's like, well, I have my retirement over there. I have my houses paid for. I do, to see a specialist takes a long, long time because, again, we're losing all of these people that are educated in medicine, teachers. I mean, there's just engineers, like all of these people that are studying and getting degrees that can do really great stuff for Puerto Rico are having to leave to take care of their family in the island.
Oh, wow. So the loss of younger workers are affecting Puerto Rican families and communities.
Yes. And I know a lot of people that live there that are my family members that will never leave Puerto Rico. They don't care that they have to wait for 48 hours for water to come in. They don't care that in the United States they can make more money. They just they feel that leaving is not an option.
What do you think can be done to create jobs without allowing outside investors to push local residents out of their own communities?
So Puerto Rico right now is being gentrified because Puerto Rico gives tax break to people that want to come and move to Puerto Rico. That's why Jake Paul, which is a very famous YouTuber, well, he used to be a YouTuber, now he's a boxer.
Okay.
But he lives in Puerto Rico. Okay. He is conserving his money, living life in luxury in Puerto Rico.
In paradise?
In paradise.
Wow.
He's started his own businesses, and he supposedly is helping the community. But when Puerto Ricans are trying to start their own businesses, when Puerto Ricans are trying to get ahead, and the government is giving more benefits to people to come in from the outside than the people living there, that there's just it doesn't make sense, because instead of trying to cater and bring people from the outside to start businesses, we want business. Business means growth, but
invest in Puerto Rico.
But invest in the people first. Because people go to Puerto Rico for Puerto Rican people because of the culture, the food. They don't want to go into. For example, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get backlash from my family. They don't want to go to Taco Bell in Puerto Rico. but Puerto Ricans love Taco Bell. They want authenticity. If you love going to Puerto Rico, make sure that you go to small businesses in Puerto Rico. Bring that money that you want to spend in Puerto Rico to local businesses. There's restaurants. Go to the touristic side of Puerto Rico is something that I love, because when you go to Puerto Rico, even when I go as a local.
Okay.
And I have seen a lot of my friends go to Puerto Rico, but they don't experience the island the way that I experience the island.
I know a lot of Caribbean countries used to go to Puerto Rico back in the day to shop. But with Liat going out of business and a lot of the inter-island travel, a lot of that has stopped, especially since also Washington has put embargoes on a lot of different countries. So I think a lot of that has stopped. But Puerto Rico was once a thriving country.
Yes. And unfortunately, the government in Puerto Rico has done an awful job at lifting their people up.
So do you believe Puerto Ricans receive equal treatment on the federal programs?
The federal programs that exist in Puerto Rico help, but the reason why people ask for assistance from the government is to get by hardship at the moment. It's not supposed to be something that you rely on forever.
True.
And the government is not doing its job properly in making sure that the people that are needing those services
Get them.
that need them can come out of it by helping in the economy.
Oh, I get it, to help rebuild the economy.
So yes, there is a lot of help for the community with benefits, but that's not what people want. People want to be able to make their own money. People want to be able to grow, and it just feels like because these services are provided, people are stuck. You know, I know a lot of my family that moved from Puerto Rico to the United States thrived here.
Okay, that's great.
But in the island received assistance.
Does people send back money to the islands to help them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I was telling you in the beginning of this. People leaving Puerto Rico are not leaving Puerto Rico because they want to.
They have to.
They have to. Honestly, I would love to live in Puerto Rico.
Me too.
I hope that one day, because living here is also hard, because I can't sit here and tell you, oh, well, I'm thriving and I'm making all this money. I struggle. I have my struggles here. But one day I hope to go back and take with me my kids and grow old there. That is my wish. And that's the wish of every Puerto Rican that you can talk to. No, they will all say the same thing. I want to die. The day that I die, I want to die in my island. I want to be buried in my island. Because the people leaving don't want to leave Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is amazing. It's beautiful. Everything about it. I could go to Puerto Rico. Anyone can go to Puerto Rico and feel the energy and the pace of life all of a sudden slow.
I think that's a beautiful thing. I think we do that because I feel the same way when I go home.
And I don't know, here in the United States, I feel robotic at a point. I feel like I have to work, make money, save money, pay bills, work, save money, pay bills. And I say save money because when you come from poverty, you have financial anxiety.
Ah, okay.
And being in the United States, I feel like I came here with the purpose of growing.
Okay.
And it's like I want to make sure that my mom leaving Puerto Rico has a purpose.
Has a reason. Okay. Talking about that, let's talk about priorities. According to Congressional Research Services, the United States provided Israel with approximately $12.5 billion in military and missile defense assistance during the fiscal year 2024. In fiscal year 2025, the amount returned to approximately $3.8 billion. I want to be fair about this comparison. Military aid and domestic infrastructure funding are not the same type of spending. Congress cannot simply move money from one category to another without taking action. However, American citizens still have the right to question their government's priorities. The $3.8 billion provided to Israel during fiscal year 2025 was more than the entire $2.98 billion federal nutrition grant, serving approximately 1.42 million Puerto Rican residents each month. This is not about saying that another country should receive nothing. It's about asking why the United States can act with urgency in another part of the world while American citizens in Puerto Rico continue waiting for reliable electricity, completed infrastructure projects, and equal treatment. Stephanie, when you hear those numbers, what goes through your mind?
I'm going to say this plainly. I am not surprised by where our government chooses to spend its money. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. We have watched billions of American taxpayers' dollars go towards supporting Zionist agenda, while Palestinians in Gaza have been killed, displaced, and deprived of basic necessities. I believe what is happening to the Palestinian people is a genocide. And I believe Americans have every right to question why our tax dollars are helping fund it. And at the same time, Puerto Ricans who are American citizens are still dealing with poverty and unreliable electric grid, water problems, crumbling infrastructure, and communities that have never fully recovered from Hurricane Maria. So yes, I have a problem with that because our government has shown over and over again that when something is considered a priority, they find the money.
So do you believe the federal government responds to international crisis with more urgency than they respond to the problems in Puerto Rico?
Yes. Yes. To me, there is a connection between what happens when people living under systems of colonialism, occupation, or injustice don't control the decisions being made over their lives. Too often, the people with the least power are the ones expected to live with the consequences, while the people making those decisions remain far removed from them.
So how can we discuss government priorities without turning the conversation into a competition between people who are suffering?
It shouldn't be a competition. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that other countries don't need our assistance, but I also see that we're supposed to be American citizens.
I heard the last thing I heard was America first.
But that only makes sense to them when it's in mainland. And that is my opinion.
What should the United States government be doing differently for Puerto Rico?
It should be doing its check and balances. It should be asking the government of Puerto Rico, if we're giving you this money for a purpose, where are the results? The Puerto Rican people deserve to know where the money is going. You know, we talk about check and balances in the United States, but that should be also in Puerto Rico. The government should be asking the Puerto Rican government, why is it that the electrical grid is not being fixed? Why is it that 40% of the water doesn't get to the homes or the businesses? They're losing 40% of the water that is moving through the pipes.
Oh, okay.
So 40% is being lost before it gets to the people.
To the homes. Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's a lot of damage.
Yes. Puerto Ricans are United States citizens, but residents of the island cannot vote for president in the general election. Puerto Rico does not have voting senators. Its residents, commissioner, can introduce legislation and work in committees, but cannot vote on the final passage of bills in the House of Representatives. This means more than 3 million American citizens do not have the same voting power in Washington as citizens living in the states. How does Puerto Rico's limited political power affect the way Congress responds to the island?
Well, we have representation in Congress, and it's not, I don't feel like it's helpful. Why? Because although we can vote on primaries, we can decide who we want from the Democratic Party or Republican Party to be the nominee. They leave us out when actually voting when it matters.
Puerto Rico is always left out when it matters. The U.S. territory, no U.S. territory has any rights to vote in the general election. I think that is so wrong. If you are born a U.S. citizen, you should have the same right.
And you know, it was very different to see come from the island to the United States and know that in the island you can't vote for who your president will be, but just because you fly to mainland, all of a sudden your opinion matters. It's about where you're at.
So do you think officials pay less attention to people who cannot vote for them in or out of office?
Oh, primaries in Puerto Rico, they're all full force. Everybody goes to Puerto Rico because they know that they want them votes.
Oh.
The primaries are very big in Puerto Rico.
Like the Democrat primary?
The Democratic and the Republicans.
Oh, wow.
But once primaries are over, their opinion don't matter.
Oh.
Because they don't need it.
So can Puerto Rico ever receive equal treatment while it remains a territory?
I don't think so. I don't think so, sadly.
Because I've heard people discuss statehood, independence, and free association. What should America understand about those choices?
Sure. So every year they get to vote. Well, every so often. I don't know if it's every year, but I've never voted in Puerto Rico. Okay. So forgive me if I get that wrong. They have choice. They can pick between becoming independent, becoming a state, or staying the way they are, which means that we are free, but we're associated with the United States. Estado libre asociado. That's what it's called. That's what we currently have. It means
I don't know what that meant, but it sounds nice.
Well, some people like it. Some people believe that.
What does it mean in English?
It means Estado is state, libre, free.
Libre, free.
Asociado, and associated.
Okay.
And people like it because it's like having best of both worlds.
Okay.
We can have our own identity, but we are also Americans.
But isn't that what you have now?
Yes, that's what I mean. That's that we're currently under Estado Libre Asociado. Puerto Ricans have voted that they want to become a state.
Okay.
But Congress is not doing it.
So do you think the final vote, the final decision about Puerto Rico's future should rest entirely with the Puerto Rican people?
Honestly, Puerto Ricans don't really trust the government in Puerto Rico. And they don't believe that voting what Puerto Rico should become or stay. They don't believe that vote matters, because if the United States wanted Puerto Rico to be a state, we would have been a state.
So what does a stronger, more secure Puerto Rico looks like to you?
Honestly, the way that we're being treated by the United States, I feel like they should just let us be free. Let us figure it out. But the thing is that I also feel like the government in Puerto Rico is too corrupt, in my opinion. The people don't trust the government in Puerto Rico. There's a water crisis going on. Right now, there are 7 municipalities that currently have a water crisis.
Oh.
And the governor, that is, the leader of Puerto Rico, decided to throw a huge birthday party to raise money for her campaign in next elections.
Okay.
There was a big crowd of Puerto Ricans outraged
I would have thought so.
Because like, what are you doing? There's people that are in crisis without water, and you're celebrating your birthday in a very lavish, like, crazy birthday party.
We've seen it here on the mainland too.
While people are suffering. And that's why I say that we should be free. Puerto Rico should be free. But our government, it needs a lot of changing in order for us to be prosperous.
Yes. Understood. So, Stephanie, thank you so much. We are now at the fun part of Zlography.
Okay.
It's time for what's called Zlography lightning round.
Okay.
I'm going to say a phrase or a word, and the first thing that comes to your mind, just relax, or you could even say a short sentence. What's Puerto Rico's greatest strength?
The people.
Greatest challenge?
The government.
What is one thing Americans misunderstand about Puerto Rico?
The government.
What does Puerto Rican resilient mean to you?
Strength.
Oh, okay, I like that. What needs attention first? Electricity, jobs, healthcare, or political status?
Infrastructure.
What do you prefer? Rice and beans or empanadas?
Rice and beans.
Yum. What is one word that describes Puerto Rican culture?
Beautiful.
What is your favorite Puerto Rican tradition?
Oh my God, there's so many. Sorry, I blanked out. Favorite tradition? Bomba y plena.
What is that?
I don't know how to say it in
We'll talk.
it's an Afro-Latino dance style.
All right.
And it's tradition. You have this really huge dress and you're just dancing, and it's beautiful.
Okay. Complete this sentence. Puerto Rico deserves
Freedom.
Okay. Stephanie, before we close, what is the one message you want every Zlography viewer to remember about Puerto Rico? You can look right into the camera and tell them.
When you go to Puerto Rico, please think that you are there to support small businesses, the people, the culture, and respect it. Some people, we have an animal called coqui, and it makes this specific sound that really truly represents what Puerto Rico is. But for some reason, tourists sometimes hate it and don't like it. But you're going to their habitat. So if you're coming into the island, embrace everything that the island is just the way it is. And don't complain about it.
How can our viewers get in contact with you if they would like to reach out and find out more about Puerto Rico or what you do?
Absolutely. I'm an open book, and I have very strong opinions. And if anyone wants to talk to me or has questions or wants a little bit of more insight of an answer that I provided to get more clarification or a better understanding, you can contact me at phanie0620 or you can call me. I have a line that is not active all day, but you can call me during business hours. It's 404-938-1987. I am an activist and an organizer, and the reason why I do what I do is because growing up the way that I grew up, I really truly believe that America can do better. And the only way that it can get better is if we speak up and we fight for it.
Thank you, Stephanie. At Zlography, we do not end with conversation. We end with action. This week's Zlography action item is to contact your United States representative and senators. Ask them, what are they doing to make sure the federal money already approved for Puerto Rico's electrical system is being used to complete projects? You can say, my name is blank, and I am contacting you to ask what Congress is doing to speed up Puerto Rico's electrical recovery. Puerto Ricans are United States citizens, and they deserve reliable electricity, clean water, accountability for the federal money that have already been approved. You can also ask whether they support giving Puerto Rico equal access to SNAP and other federal programs. One telephone call or email may feel small. However, government pays attention when enough citizens begin to ask the same question.
And I would also include there, if possible, if it was you living in the island, would you want to be ignored? Would you fight for it to be better? We deserve better. Puerto Ricans deserve better.
Stephanie Lopez-Burgos, thank you for joining me and helping us bring attention to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is not a foreign country asking the United States for charity. Puerto Ricans are United States citizens. They are Caribbean people. They are Latino people. Their struggles are part of American story. Reliable electricity should not depend on where an American citizen lives. Political representation should not be treated as a privilege. Accountability should not end when the money is announced. If you enjoyed this conversation and found it informative, please subscribe to Zlography, like this episode, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you believe the United States owes its citizens in Puerto Rico. Thank you, Stephanie, for being here. I really appreciated you coming on to Zlography and telling your story. And thank you, audience, for listening and being here with us. Until next time, on Zlography, we will continue examining the issues that affect Caribbean American communities and the decisions that shape our future. We'll break down another important issue and show you why your voice, your vote, and your involvement matter. You will not want to miss it. Thank you for being here with us on Zlography.
Thank you for having me.
This is Zlography, where politics is broken down and citizens learn to govern their government. I'm Debz. Stay informed, stay involved, and never give away your power as a citizen. See you next time.